even with winning this game against the Commanders, this was their first win of the season. They lost last week against the Broncos. They blew that game. So they're 1-4. They still have the number one overall pick. Panthers obviously haven't played yet, so they could be they were other winless team hanging out there. But like the Fields thing is tricky because I like even if Fields is on the roster, like we're saying, they're probably going to take Caleb Williams. But Fields has played so well the last couple of, or at least he's played well for what we've seen from Justin Fields recently. That like, is it sell high time on Justin Fields for Chicago?
You're saying
Because
trade him right now?
yeah, and that would put him in a really obvious position. It's not like they have another guy waiting around or even like a veteran guy to take over. It would become basic. It's pretty obvious tanking at that point, but this is like we're saying the best two games of his career, and statistically, like you're saying, like he's not going to put up these. Like he could still play well going forward, but he's not going to put up the numbers like over a consistent basis that he just put up these last two games. I mean, 308 yards a game over the last two games, eight total passing touchdowns, and one interception, but he was like really low value even, you know, 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago. Like
Yeah.
what would a team have done to bring in Justin Fields? He was like starting to be written off as a young, productive guy, but he's turned it around. And I think the big thing is he's got his confidence back. But I mean, again, regardless, you kind of have to take Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams is already just from what we've seen, one of the most talented quarterbacks just kind of playing football right now. Like you have to take Caleb Williams, but is there could they would it be a smart move for the Bears to turn Fields into something while he's playing so well?
It is an interesting conversation. What sucks is that one of the teams that would work great with them is in their would great work great for a trade is in their own division.
Ooh,
If they
which
were to
one?
tank I mean, if the Vikings want to do like Cousins and
Oh,
Addison, Cousins and Hawkinson,
and put
don't
Cousins in
think
the deal?
I know. It was what expiring contract, right? Or is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, expiring contract, throwing something. If it was like normal basketball where they don't care about divisions, they do care about conferences, I guess, but I don't know. Does that something
That's a good
interesting?
move.
I know you're trying to get rid of Cousins over there.
Well,
So
because the Cousins number is a bigger number, and if you're trading for Cousins and it's like, ooh, we're got to take 4 years at 35 million, 40 million a year for Kirk Cousins, and we're trying to rebuild, like that's different from Chicago. But if you've got this number one pick and you can still at least, and flipping that into Cousins is not like we're just trading Fields away for a second. Like, we're still
exactly.
bringing in a guy who can at least, give us something on offense week to week. Was there another piece to that? Was it just
Yeah, and then I don't know, you
was there
throw
a
a,
pick?
a pick or Addison or something like that. Yeah.
Ooh, I think the Vikings would not. The Vikings would.
Yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, pick, you put a second arounder and then you guys figure out, you get a young quarterback in Minnesota, someone he shows he can launch the ball. I mean, him and Jefferson, you got a pairing for who knows how long. And then the Bears, you just run it all back. You get Caleb Williams, you get Kirk Cousins, he's gonna be decent. He'll put up
Mm.
stats. He'll lose the rest of the year and then get Caleb Williams, make out of there. But they're never gonna
And
trade
if
in
you
their division.
and if Cousins wants to re-sign too, and kind of not,
Yeah.
I don't know if Caleb Williams needs a mentor, but just to be a veteran guy,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think he
I
needs
don't
Kirk Cousins
know.
mentoring him, anyways. But
No, I'm just throwing out teams that need quarterbacks that are kind of good. I don't know, like the Browns, they're starting to look around, get rid of Deshaun.
can I pitch you a couple of my trades?
I knew you had trades already lined up. I was just
I
checking
want to
out
get
stuff
mine
before
out
you
because
told me.
you're already throwing heat that's better than mine. So I'm just let me just
All
go
right,
through
all
mine
right, all
now.
right. I'm gonna clear out. I'm gonna clear out.
So the best one that the best one that I came up with, and the Vikings one is really interesting. The best one that I came up with was would the Steelers do like Pickett
Mm,
in some kind of pick for
interesting.
Justin Fields? Because you could bring in Pickett And that's not like that is even more obvious. Like you're definitely drafting
Yeah.
Caleb Williams at that point. Like it's great to bring him in, but Pickett still again gives you the feisty guy for the rest of the season. But even once you bring in Caleb Williams, you now have two guys where Pickett still has a couple of years on the rookie deal, where you have a
Hmm.
couple of rookie quarterbacks, and you have two guys and an overall still pretty cheap quarterback room because both of those guys are on rookie contracts. So you kind of give yourself some insurance for your franchise guy as well, too. I mean, Caleb Williams has been very durable. It's not like Caleb Williams is RG3 necessarily. He's a little bit smarter runner, more well
Yeah.
built, but it's you could trade for, a long-term second string guy and still
Hmm.
financially not have to commit a ton because you'd have Caleb Williams on the rookie contract, Kenny Pickett on the rookie contract, and you just get a change of scenery with another young quarterback in Justin Fields who might be a little more dynamic in Pittsburgh. I don't know. Who says no?
I don't. I think Kenny Pickett and whatever the Steelers have isn't enough. Just because of like Kenny Pickett hasn't looked
Mm.
that good this year. I don't know. I don't know if we can really
Pickett in a
trust
second.
him. Yeah, it's tough with Pickett.
You think you could get a little more than that?
I think you get a little more. I don't know. I was thinking like the money too. I mean, do you take like Daniel Jones off of the Giants? And
I wouldn't.
I don't know.
I
It's a
don't think I
lot. It's a huge contract though.
I thought about that because that's kind of the same thing where
Yeah.
you would have a big contract guy, but again, Caleb Williams is cheap, so it can kind of balance out. But that's kind of why I ended up going with Kenny Pickett instead because I thought he's
Yeah.
sort of a cheaper version of
Cheaper
Daniel Jones.
guy.
He's
Cheaper
honestly
guy.
was a cheaper version of Daniel Jones, and that's kind of why I went there.
Yeah. Kind of looking around at the Falcons. Maybe the
That was the other
Seahawks.
one I wanted to throw out there was
Yeah.
what about so I know you said Cousins and Addison earlier. And Addison, I think, is a little more
It's a
like I
little
think
rich. Yeah.
the Vikings, yeah, they're a little rich is a good way to put it. The Vikings really would want to hold on to Addison, but I don't know. Would the Falcons float out Kyle Pitts,
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking Ritter and Pitts.
Ritter
Yeah,
and
but
Pitts and a pick maybe
and then what
something in
team
the
is
later
Fields
rounds?
coming to? Like, who's he throwing to?
Oh, he's got Bijan. He's got the
That's a
best running
running
back in the
back.
league,
That's a running back. That's not a
and
wide
Bijan's an
receiver.
amazing receiver. Drake London.
Okay. Here's the pick. All right. Here's the one I'm probably gonna settle on. If I had to pick one team that has started to improve, won the division last year, but needs a little bit extra hump.
Okay.
They're the other teams in their division have kind of been looking a little fiery on offense, and they just drafted what potentially could be a group, probably not the best wide receiver. They definitely have the best wide receiver, a rookie wide receiver in the division, but their own team has someone he has the potential to be that. What if the Seahawks want to take
Hmm.
the leap, get rid of Geno,
Yeah.
move on? I really think the Seahawks would be the best team for Justin Fields, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and for the
DK
next 10
Metcalf,
years. DK
Tyler Lockett,
Metcalf,
give him some
he's
real
still an
weapons.
old guy, JSB. He's still, I mean, we know Puka is obviously going to be the, clear number
Hmm.
one wide receiver from this class right now. But, JSB, give him time. Who knows? Noah Fant. I still believe in my Iowa guy.
Yeah. He's
I mean,
decent.
yeah, defense. I mean, they started to retool. I mean, Witherspoon had a play this last week, right?
Yeah, he had a pick six, right? 90
Yeah,
plus
pick
yards.
six. Yeah. So teams on the rise. I mean, Geno Smith is not going to win you a Super Bowl, but Justin Fields in the right situation
I
with
like
this
the
team,
fit.
Pete Carroll,
Oh,
tough
Pete
guy.
Carroll too. The
I'm
fit is
telling you,
good. I
it's
think that's the
another
best
Russell
fit.
Wilson. It's another,
Ooh,
a
faster
bigger
Russell
Russell Wilson.
Wilson.
I
That's
know.
the pitch
Yeah, bigger
to
Russell
Pete
Wilson.
Carroll.
There you go.
Imagine bigger, faster
What
Imagine
what if
bigger,
Russell Wilson
faster,
was big?
cooler
Yeah,
Russell Wilson. Imagine if Russell Wilson had swag
I know. Not
and
fake swag.
earrings. Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's the team I'm gonna.
Gino in the trade.
Yeah, I think you can put Gino in the trade. I
If
think you
you're the
kind of have
Bears, do you
to.
have to give up stuff with Justin Fields to get Geno Smith? Is that
No,
the problem?
no, no. I mean, they have Geno. They put Geno and Jamal Adams. I mean, they're probably trying to get rid of
Oh,
Adams. There
both
was
of them.
something that happened.
He
He was supposed to get punished or something. There was an article I just saw. Yeah, he won't get disciplined for something. Uh
scored concussion doctor.
oh yeah,
Was
he
he
pushed
swinging
the
on the
doctor.
I feel like isn't that like a number? Isn't that like a leading sign that you have a concussion?
um,
If you start trying to fight the doctor.
he
Oh,
was
he issued
yelling
an
at the
apology.
doctor while being held back by the trainer. Yeah, I don't know. So there you go. You have your excuse to make the trade. You're like, Adams is a cancer to the locker room. He literally had 0 picks last year. And you get Geno Smith also. You're like, yeah, he's good, but come on now. It's Geno Smith. And you're bringing in Fields, a proven winner. I mean, and then Geno Smith is not going to be that bad. He's going to be a solid guy on your team. You'll lose respectably. It's not like you're totally
Hmm.
tanking. And then Adams, I don't know. You give him he could be bad or good. Who knows? It's the Bears.
Change of scenery guy.
Exactly.
You replace all
I,
your Adam or your Claypool question marks with Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams in this apology that he issued on Twitter, he calls the doctor and this the OG. He says, "I want to apologize to the OG." That could be a medical term, or you could just be calling him an OG, which would be pretty funny.
like,
And he signed his apology prez.
I mean, but you got to look at all the other teams in their division. Like the Cardinals, do they have two good quarterbacks? The Rams, are they actually that bad? Cup's coming back this week, right? They're saying he's pretty much cleared to play. 49ers are the best team in the NFL. I mean, they got to do something to keep up. In my opinion, is the
Well,
best team to
the
go to.
Seahawks. The thing is, Geno is like sneakily consistent week to week at this point. Like in the standings right now, I know we're only 4 games in, but they are 3-1. Again, the Niners are 4-0. But
Sure.
they are in the wild card race. Basically, them and Dallas right now as the two main wild card teams because Philly is 4-0 in winning their division. So if you have Geno Smith, it seems like a wild card bid is very reasonable for this team. And if you get Justin Fields, like you're right, the long term, I think upside is higher, and even this season, like the upside is higher. But
Yeah.
the swings week to week, would Seattle want to kind of get rid of that consistency? This year, trying to make a wild card run versus let's take a big swing on a guy, and it may be, we may lose, we may just fall out of the playoff race this year, but take a long term swing. Like, how important is the wild card to Pete Carroll this year? Do you think?
Exactly. No, that's exactly the point. You got the Warriors. Shout out to the Bay with this San Francisco. You got a Warriors like team in your division. These bunch of ridiculous offensive peak. Especially once Debo Samuel gets back because I think he's hurt right now. And especially once he gets back. I mean, you kind of have to take a swing because that's what it's going to take to win a ring. Rhyming accidentally, and it's
Hmm.
what they got to do because it's just their division is so tough. And I mean, the Cardinals look decent without Kyler Murray, and I already talked about the Rams and the 49ers. So it's just, I mean, you kind of just got to do it. I mean, I kind of have been, the Geno naysayer this time.
Yeah.
That's kind of been, the third line on my resume. But I are do you really think you could win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith? That's what I'm saying by.
I don't. I
I
mean, I
think
think I agree with you. I guess I. Well, I mean, I guess I agree with you. Like, I don't think you necessarily. I wouldn't bet on Geno Smith winning the Super Bowl. Could I bet on Geno Smith winning a couple of playoff games? I mean, I could see that winning the Super Bowl
yeah,
seems like a risky bet, but I mean, Fields is going to be like week to week. It might give the Seattle fans like PTSD watching him throw.
who's Fields' coach been? Who's coaching him?
Eberflus?
Exactly. Like he's mentioned it's the coaching. Maybe he's right. He's come from Ohio State. He knows
Hmm.
what that level of quality is supposed to be. He's been around a good team and he's succeeded. So, it's just like most of these quarterbacks. You got to be in a good situation to succeed. And I think Howell showed it last night too. Like Howell didn't look that bad. He just kept having no time in the pocket. He got sacked a lot.
The
He
line
did
is
make some mistakes, but you know, it was most of these quarterbacks, you just need to put them in a good situation like Geno Smith, and then you see him play really well. And we know Fields' ceiling is a lot higher. So I mean, when you're throwing to, you know, DK and Tyler and
Mhm.
Jackson Smith and Jigbutts with Super Bowl winning coach behind you, I'm just saying it's a lot different. And that defense is low key on the rise. I'm just
It
saying,
is. Their
Quandre
rush
Diggs.
defense has been very good this year. Sam just sandwiched me with two better trades
I'm telling you, man.
than what I got there. Sam's also been
Print the
inspired
jerseys.
by Sam was listening to that Drake album before this.
Hey, I'm telling you, we
Got
hype.
to take a swing,
We
get
hype
a
for all
ring.
the dogs. Woof, woof, woof. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're a poet now. Didn't even know it. Okay, so
And Gino
yeah.
too is another one of those guys quickly that has like a quarterback. He has a very team friendly deal. He signed a team
Mhm.
friendly deal this offseason. Bears wouldn't necessarily have to worry financially. He wouldn't put them financially in a super tough spot bringing in Caleb Williams. And he does have an out in a couple years. So Gino's actually a guy like say what you want about Cousins mentoring Caleb Williams. Gino is actually I think a cool veteran that could be on the team, and it's not like it's not like Caleb Williams is ever going to be in a position to like do like is he going to sit
Yeah.
for a half a it's not that at
Yeah.
all. But Gino in a locker room, I think with did Gino was Gino the one that punched the locker in New York? Was that
Maybe.
Geno Smith? Now that I'm
I
thinking
just
about it,
feel like everyone kind of forgot about him before last year.
I
Like,
don't want to throw accusations at Geno
it's just
Smith.
like they just totally forgot. I mean, and no,
IT,
the
maybe
Seahawks
fact check
fans are
that.
going to be totally sad that Geno is gone. Like, I think they'll be just fine.
Well, did you get talked into
Um,
those Drew Lock? Drew Lock had to come in for a couple of. Did he come in for a drive there in that Monday Night Football game
oh,
against the
did he?
Giants, and I think had a touchdown?
No, Geno Smith did sucker punch. Um, oh, he was sucker punched. Was literally, yeah, he was punched by a lineman.
Geno was the one that got punched.
Was right-handed,
Yeah, he got his
literally
jaw broke.
handed a punch by yikes. Yeah, suffered a broken jaw after a locker room. Yeah, you got sucker punch.
Over a $600 debt. Should I screen share this?
I guess he was,
Should
yeah,
we
six
pull it
hundred
up?
dollars. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, because his brother was in the hospital, so he promised to pay back the $600, but he didn't. According to Schefter, they really said, according to Schefter, Smith had promised to pay back $600, but apparently not quick enough for the defender who deposited a right hand on his jaw instead. Yikes. That is not funny, guys. Cold cocked sucker punch, whatever you want to call it.
Six
That's a
hundred
yikes.
dollars.
Sheesh. Imagine getting hit in the back of the head. That could kill you.
Was that a lot for Geno at this time?
I don't know. Maybe. That was a car payment. I don't know. I mean, we had what was the Bobby Portis thing or the cold soup one? There was something.
If we were running the Seahawks and the Bears, the Bears offered us that trade, would we do it?
Yeah, every day of the week. I mean, if I'm the Bear or the Seahawks, you get a chance at Justin Fields. I mean, I think you kind of have to do it.
That would just be a lot of fun. I
It's
think I agree with you.
it's
I kind of
far
like it.
enough divisions, you can kind of it's
Yeah,
the same
Bears and the
conference,
Seahawks.
but you're like, are you guys really like,
I don't feel like the Bears need to be like, we can't trade Justin Fields to a team in our conference.
exactly. I don't think either team is worried about like
Maybe the
trading the other
Bears want to
player.
trade him to the Vikings.
Yeah, I know.
Where they
Maybe.
go, we get Caleb Williams, we get to play Justin Fields twice a year.
Exactly. So the fans have made it clear they want Caleb Williams. So yeah, they're fine if they get rid of Fields. It's a win-win. Call it in. Don't steal our idea, league. Just hire us. We'll do it.
Yeah, I think because the thing is too, like Fields is one of those guys. I know a lot of people joke about the script, but it like leading up to the season, it kind of felt like Justin Fields was in the trailer a lot, right? Like
Yeah.
he was kind of like a big hype guy coming into the
Uh-huh.
season. The Bears are, a big market team, so they got in some primetime slots because of that, of course. But I'm sure that helps trying to lift the Justin Fields profile as well. But just seemed like a guy that the NFL was kind of like this is going to be his breakout year? Like he could be like potentially like a new young star quarterback in the league, and put him in Seattle with DK Metcalf and Devon Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen. I think Seahawks do that, especially like you're saying. They're like, yes, and can you take Jamal Adams?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it looks like so. There was a chance Fields could have been traded to Seattle, but it was for Russell Wilson.
Oh, so there have been talks.
Yeah, yeah.
Seattle has been interested.
It looks like they didn't. Well, they didn't want to. I mean, Seattle didn't want to draft him. Um, so I guess they just didn't want to. The Seahawks. Yeah, there was. So they didn't want to draft him. So I guess the Seahawks don't want Fields in the first place.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
they
these
could have
last two games have
drafted one
changed their
in
mind.
2021. Yeah.
Maybe they've changed their mind after these last couple of games. I
I
know the
mean, they
Bears
try
also.
it. Oh, sorry. It looks like the Bears offered him, but yeah, they just didn't. They offered
Oh, the
three
Bears offered
first
him.
rounders, a third pick, and then I guess technically a player, the starter, two starters, but they don't know who those two starters were. And it looks like Pete Carroll said no.
Wasn't I doubt Justin Fields was in that trade. If it was all those picks and Fields,
Hey, I mean, they had
was
Geno
that?
Smith.
But that would have been what, two off seasons ago at this point?
Yeah, but they do the whole like front office thing, like in the draft when they later get a guy in free agency, they're like, "Oh, we really wanted you because we saw your
Yeah,
draft stuff. We just couldn't get you."
that's
Front
true.
offices rarely change their minds on guys. Like it's football guys stuck
It's
in their
true. It's
ways.
tough to watch all the guys. So I feel like, yeah, when they just have to, like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's when teams have to like sign guys or go get guys, they either go get guys that were high on their draft board or that are on a team in their division and just kill them every year.
yeah,
Like divisional opponents that have big games.
yeah, pretty much.
Sometimes it works. Like Onyemeta on the Seahawks or on the Falcons right now is having a
Yeah,
great season, but
shout out.
sometimes it doesn't. I know the Bears also have though, they're gonna have two top picks in this draft. So I know the fun thing right now is everybody is saying that you take Caleb Williams and you take Marvin Harrison Jr. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is, like, I can admit, a must hit. Like he's a what was it? He's a can't bust, can't
Yeah,
can't miss. He's a can't
can't
miss
miss. There you go.
wide receiver prospect. But I am like, I think the Penn State O lineman kid might be like a can't miss O
Um,
line prospect as well. What would you do if you're running the Bears? Would you go Marvin Harrison or would you go offensive line to protect
um,
Caleb Williams?
well, I'm not
Just
the
as a
Giants, so I'm gonna take the wide receiver. I think
ooh,
the
take the
Giants are like the
receiver.
only team who would do that, yeah.
Hmm. Dan said the same thing, but I just wanted to say
Well, would you take the lineman?
I just think he's really good, and that's just been a struggle for him. So I'd think about it. Definitely really
Yeah.
think about it. That would
Positional
be.
value.
I mean, he's the only other guy I would consider in that spot at this point. Just because I don't think the pass rushers have, like, at least the ones at the top of the draft haven't really popped in a way. Dallas Turner's had a very solid year. And the thing is too, like Latu, the edge from UCLA, is having an
Mhm.
amazing season. And if you just like were ranking him from this season, might be like the number one edge on the board. But he wasn't that way coming into the season. So it's gonna take him a minute to work his way up. But I think those are the top two guys right now. But it's just like
Early draft stocks.
Caleb Williams is gonna, if they have the number one pick, Caleb Williams is gonna be on this team regardless of whether or not Justin Fields is on it. So he does have value right now. The thing is, it would be tough for Fields to go to a different situation, like just as he's gaining confidence. But if it was the Seahawks, I feel like that would only boost his confidence.